when we knew, we had knowledge, we had no beliefs. Right now you live in beliefs. You want to believe things. Belief is ignorance. Right knowledge is to know. You understand that? Belief is ignorance because belief is the acceptance of things that you do not know. As a Elohim, or as it says in the books of Genesis, that he said, now the man has become like us. He knows good from evil. That's the first thing that it said that man knew. Good from evil.
This is the result of the destruction of the children in 1972, from 19...
Okay, I was going to get to that. No, what it means is, back then was the only time we ever knew anything. Name something you know now. You know nothing. You don't know if there's a heaven. You don't know if the Quran is authentic. You don't know if you're a human. You don't know whether this is mustard or red. You don't know whether this is white or gold. All you know is what they told you, and you have belief in what they told you. When we were in our right state of Elohim, we didn't have beliefs. We knew because we were the gods that everybody worshipped. You follow that? The people with the crown, the woolly hair, right? We were the original Watusi and the original Pygmies. There was here, Pygmies and Watusis was the original people that was on the earth before Adam and Eve. You understand? Adam and Eve came after that. Adam and Eve was genetically bred by elders to give a genealogy. The first human being on the planet Earth, classified a human being, was Seth's son. Seth's son's name was Enos, and Enos means mortal or human being. Seth of the Torah is Sethmos, the ancient Egyptian god, to Cain.
You said Adam and Eve was born through somebody?
Oh, yeah. Adam was a tribe, and Eve was a tribe. Male and female created he, them. It says in Genesis.
So where does the apple and the serpent come in?
Apple and the serpent comes in with the pomegranate apple, and you can read all about the pomegranate apple and the building of Solomon's temple and the priest robe throughout Exodus and Leviticus and Numbers. These are books of the scriptures, in case you don't know.
Yeah, I know where you're from.
Yeah, so, but that happened to the family. Once that breed of the Watusis and the Pygmies came together to have that child for the refilling of the earth. So if you read, you'll see that it says in the beginning he created two great lights. Correct? Poor interpretation says the two great lights are the sun and the moon. The moon has no light. So therefore in Genesis when it says he created two great lights, he couldn't be talking about the moon, because the moon has no light of its own. The moon is non-luminous. The second light he's talking about is the light that's inside you and me. People of the sun. We are Shem. The name Samson means solar. You with that?
Yeah.
That's what the name Samson means. Shamsa means the sun. So we are sun people. This is why we can live under the sun and Europeans cannot live under the sun.
We've really got an epidemic on our hands in this country. The incidence of melanoma is increasing alarmingly. We also have a very high incidence of other forms of skin cancer, to the point where 2 out of every 3 Australians before the age of 70 will have some form of skin cancer.
More than twice the world average, this high cancer rate is usually explained by Australians' love of the outdoors. Exposure to the sun's ultraviolet radiation causes skin cancer. And because the majority of people here are very light-skinned, they're especially susceptible to the sunburns that lead to this disease.
What they do not teach you is what's called right knowledge. Right knowledge is that there's a sun burning inside of you, a light burning inside of you. That they tell us that there's just energy here. There's light and fire burning inside us, and that's what they're speaking about in the book of John when it says the light is shining in the darkness, but the darkness comprehendeth it not. And that light is called Ruh in Hebrew, and it's called Ra in ancient Egypt, and we were called Amun-Ra. The word Amun means Amanah, faith. So Muhammad named all of those people that worship Ra, Mu'min and Mu'minati, which is short for Aman, and every one of your prayers end with Ameen. Let me hear you say amen. Oh, let me hear you say amen. Amin, which is the ancient Egyptian god Amun, and the Ra was the sun in us as the original people of the sun. And we roam the earth millions of years, 17,250,000 years to be exact, before Adam was created 49,000 years ago. You follow that? And then Adam was just one breed from the Watusi tribe, and Hawa was one breed from the Pygmy tribe. They came together when the earth had been hit with a meteorite that killed the dinosaurs and destroyed most of the life form on the planet. And that planet had to be refilled or pre premise, like it says in the book of genealogy called Genesis, right? And that's when they brought these two kids together, Adam and Eve. And the men who brought them together were called the Elohim. That's why they translate in your Bible God. If you look into the Hebrew, it says in the beginning Elohim did this. Elohim did this. And then when they get to Genesis chapter 2, in the first 4 verses, it moves from Elohim into Yahweh Elohim. And then when it gets into Genesis chapter 3, it gets down into who Satan is and his temptation of this man and this woman. But this man and woman were just walking on the earth where the spirit of the Most High, called Elohim, was already here. We were called the spirit because we were called Ruh, and Ruh is soul, and that's Ra, the sun, the light, and the light's the second light inside of us, the light that shineth that we don't understand. We are the gods. We have been taught to worship people when everybody on the planet is worshiping us. You understand? We are the people that they're worshiping. All this ancient Mesopotamian, Babylonian, and ancient Egyptian history are all facts, but it's all pre-history, meaning pre-Torah. The Torah was written strictly for us to log in our genealogy when the two children were created, Adam and Eve. Prior to that, we were gods, so we never worshiped. The first time you find anything about worship is when you get to Seth, and it says, and then they began to call on the name Yahweh, and that you'll find also in Genesis in its 4th chapter. Then they started calling. Prior to that, we didn't worship because we were worshipped. We were the Elohim. And that's why they always say Elohim is plural, and they try to put Jesus back there with the Elohim. So you go back to the book of John, and you read John chapter 1, it says, in the beginning was the Word. Now go to Genesis, and it says, in the beginning Elohim created. In the beginning was the Word. And then you go back to Genesis, and it says, in the beginning Elohim. So the Word and Elohim must be the same thing. Yes, Jesus was a part of the Elohim because he was one of the elders. And those elders and scientists are the ones who bred the Adam and Eve after the planet had been, like I said, hit by a flare of meteorites that destroyed all the dinosaurs and the prehistoric man. The first trace of the white man came out of what they call Java. The Java man, you heard of Java man? Yeah. Java man is a short word of saying Javan. You look in the genealogy of Yefet.
That Java man is like the Neanderthal man?
That's right. That's an ape man, a dog man.
Europe.
That's right. That's Greeks. The word Java and Javan is the Greeks, because the sons of Japheth married in to the seed of Canaan and produced the Java man who went in caves. We lived behind waterfalls when the planet was covered under dust.
That meteorite that you're talking about, is that the Kaaba you're talking about?
The who?
Did that come later?
Kaaba? No, the Kaaba is a product of the flesh of Adam. That was a sign that when the scientists finished breathing, right, when they made it. That's all it has to do with it. The Kaaba, when you look at the root of the Kaaba, you're talking about where they set up idol worship. Let me tell you about El-Islam. El-Islam was the first school. After El-Islam, then there's Christianity. After Christianity, then there's the truth, Millah Ibrahim. I had to teach you all Islam first and give you a thorough understanding of Islam. What is Islam? Islam is an ancient Babylonian religion. What do they call their religion in Islam? Deen. For 25 years, I tell them the Quran says Millah. For 25 years, they say Deen. Who's Deen? Deen is Dinah. Who's Dinah? An ancient goddess of the crescent. You follow that? What does it represent? Fertility. What is fertility? The symbols of a mosque. A minaret, which is supposed to be a penis, and a dome, which is a breast. It goes back to the ancient Babylonian worship that they kindled under the name Allat. Who is Allat? Allat was one of the ancient Babylonian gods from Nebuchadnezzar and them. It actually goes back to Nimrod and them. Islam was the first school of taking the spell of Leviathan off our people. Who had never intended for our people to remain Mohammedans or Mu'min, meaning people who worship Amun-Ra. Because there's Amun and Atan. Amun is plural, which is Elohim, and Atan is single, which is Elo or Yahweh. We had to get back to the fact that we are the Elohims to get back to the fact that we are the Elo. So a lot of traditions and customs, and I made sure that they knew every custom. We was the only community that wore veils, jalabias. We did everything it was, because if you're going to teach the people well, you got to submerge them in that knowledge. You follow that? Yeah. But that was not what they call right knowledge. That was called belief. Because while we were all submerged in Al-Islam, it was all based on belief, not facts. Now we had to go back, and after we finished that, I taught them all about Christianity.
And you say belief, you mean faith also.
When I say belief, I mean to lie to Eve's children. Be lie. Eve. To lie to Eve's children, which is the one they said there'll be two seeds, the woman's seed, which is Eve, and the serpent's seed, which is Leviathan. And believe means to lie to Eve's children. Faith means believing in the God Amen. Amana, faith, Mu'minun, Mu'minati, ancient God. And that Amen, like I said, is all, we're Amen. We're Aman Ra. We're the son of it. Islam just taught you the first stages.
Who worshipped us back then?
Who worshipped us?
Yeah, back then.
The Hindus worshipped us. You had Watusis, Pygmies, and the other people were called Sindh. They called them Sindh, right? They moved down to a place called Bali. And they still have temples in Bali now, in India. And that was called Eden. That was a different Eden than our Eden. Right? Those people worshipped us and they made images of us. Krishna, Brahma, Shiva. When you say Brahma, you're saying Abraham. You follow that? When you say Krishna, you're saying Christ or Messiah. That's all those names represented. We became their God. But then they became idol worshippers. They got the 200-fold angels left the land of Persia, which is called Nod, and moved into that land, and they started worshiping them because they were fire worshippers. They saw power in that. And then we lost the worship because we stopped knowing. And what is the thing we stopped knowing? We stopped knowing good from bad. And that's what it says in Genesis. Now the man has become one of us what? Knowing. Good. That's the only time we knew. What did we discover in Genesis? We discovered good from bad. We knew good angels from bad angels. Now we don't know good people from bad. We don't know good food from bad. We don't know good music from bad. We don't know anything, and we were the ones who knew everything. And so they put us under a spell. What kind of spell? The spell of ghost worship. You understand? Ghost worship. And they said gospel, ghost spell. They put us under some ritual. It sounds crazy, but it's called etymology. It's in the sounds, right? They put us under a spell and had us worshiping spirits. And if I didn't worship a spirit, God, what did they call me? They called me atheos. Atheos. If I don't worship a theory, I'm an atheos. And they say atheist. You see, or in Greek, the same thing, Dios, or in Spanish, Dios, or in French, Do. All of these names come out of the same thing, theories. We didn't worship theories because we were Etherians. See, ether, atheist. We were Etherians and we were the gases people. If you look at the word gases and change that G, which is the ancient language from a G in Hebrew, we say Gemal. In Arabic, you say Jet. Right? Take the word gas and put the jet there. And what do you get? Gas. Say it. Gases. Say gases. Gas. In our Hebrew is Ga. Gemal. Arabic is Ja. Put the Ja where the G is at. Jesus. Oh. A spirit. See, a spirit belief. Because we didn't believe in spirits. We didn't believe in spooks. You know why we didn't believe in spooks? Because that's what they called us. Spooks. We were the spooks. We were the spiritual beings who incarnated on this planet. When they say God, they're playing a trick on your eyes. Right? When a child reads backwards, what do they say they have? Dyslexia. Right? That means they read backwards. What does the word lexia mean? Lexia means law. Look it up. The word lexia means law. Dyslexia means to go against the law. And they teaching you to write from left to right. In all the ancient scriptures, you'd read from right to left. So now let's go and go against the law and read God from right to left instead of from left to right. What do we read? We read dog. What is the dog? The dog star. Anubis, the ancient jackal of ancient Egypt, the god of the dead. Who's the dead? The Caucasus people. You follow that? The books that they're teaching you is called the Book of the Dead. They tell you it's the New Testament. Yeah, they make a New Testament. What is the New Testament? The Book of John. What is Matthew, Mark, and Luke? Nothing. Who's Mark? Mark is Mark Anthony. And if you look at the books of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and put John where it belongs first, and not last, you'll see that each one of them says in the beginning. The one says in the beginning this happened, the other one says in the beginning that happened. Who's Mark? Mark Anthony. He's the father of Jesus or Zeus. Who did he marry? Cleopatra. Listen now, this is called right knowledge. Right? He married Cleopatra, and because he was of the people who had no color, in their skin, they were transparent. They were not sun people. They were moon people of the moon cycle. We were sun people.